So something I've never really designed is a more masculine brand. I actually think I have a perception around masculine brands that kind of scares me just a little bit. So if you follow me on here, you've watched my previous videos, you follow me on Instagram, you will know that color is my thing. And I think masculine brands don't like to use that much color. They like to keep things quite clean, which is definitely not my design style and which is why I steer completely away from that. Also, my target audience for my business and as a designer is female entrepreneurs. But today, we are gonna take it off the list and I'm gonna try and design a more masculine brand. So I am actually gonna be redesigning a YouTuber's brand, and the YouTuber that I have picked is David Dobrik. So if you don't know who David Dobrik is, he is a massive YouTuber that basically creates videos and vlogs with his friends, which are hilarious. And I am gonna be diving into his brand, which I thought would be quite cool to dive into another YouTuber's world and see if I can redesign their merch or their brand. So one of his brands is actually a perfume brand for both men and for women. So we're not completely staying clear of females, but it is going to be a more masculine brand. So I have checked out their socials, the packaging, the branding, their website to really understand the brand better. And I actually remember seeing some videos that David did of PR packages that he sent to influencers of the perfume, and it actually looked pretty incredible. But when I dived into the branding and the packaging more, I was slightly shocked because it is very, very minimal and it kind of feels like not a lot of thought went into it. So it is my job as the designer today to redesign this brand, give the packaging some real oomph and really make a go of this brand. It is rather festive in the office. We are in December, so the Christmas lights need to be on. Anyway, let's dive into the main logo for this brand. So it reads David's Perfume by David Dobrik, and I kind of like that they've used his name twice within this brand. I feel like because he is a massive personal brand, he is able to use his name to sell a product. So there is a box outline around the original logo, which is imperfect with lines crossing over one another. Not quite sure why they've done that, but we're gonna run with that. And then there's 2 Ds for the submark. And the only thing that I actually like about this is the packaging on the perfume. They've actually, I think, managed to link back to YouTube. So underneath the main logo, there's like a bar, which I think refers to when you like drag to a certain part in the video. So I really like that link, and I feel like I could use that kind of thing within the brand that I'm going to create. Other than that, I'm not a massive fan of this original branding. It is very plain compared to my design style. So I'm actually really excited to put my own twist on it and give it more of an oomph, more of a quirk, and see what I can do. Let me know in the comments if you like the original branding or if you're excited to see what I can do. So let's start diving into the process. So I've already created a Pinterest board full of inspiration and hopefully some direction for myself too. So if we look at the Pinterest board, we have got some beautiful deep and dark colors that have been inspired by a lot of whiskey brands and packaging. I actually really like that idea of using like a deeper red to link back to YouTube in some sort of way. I also really love the sans serif really wide typography. That could definitely fit within this brand and the vision that I have for it. So the second stage we're gonna do is head over to Adobe Illustrator. I'm gonna create a refined mood board from this Pinterest board and hopefully a clearer direction for myself too. I adore the mood board process so much because Pinterest can get very overwhelming. There's a lot of imagery, a lot of ideas going around. So either creating 1 or 2 mood boards can really refine this process and give you a clearer direction. So let's look at the mood board that I'm creating. We've got those deeper, darker reds, which I really want to take into action. We've got some packaging, we've got some beautiful type, and I think we're either going to go for a sans serif or a serif type, which is a lot more stretched and a lot more wide. And then we've got some beautiful packaging on here, which has been heavily inspired by some bottles, some whiskey, and I really like that dusky direction. So talking about being inspired by packaging and whiskey brands, this video is kindly sponsored by Envato Elements, which is my go-to place for mock-ups and fonts. Honestly, if there was one thing that I could recommend to designers, it is Envato Elements. They are incredible. And you will see throughout this video that I'll be using mock-ups from them to really bring this perfume brand to life. They have some incredible perfume mock-ups, so if you want to see them in action, stick around to the end. If you want to check them out, make sure you click the link in my description. So the next stage is choosing our font for our logo type, and I've already whittled this down from 15 to my top 6 favorite. So let's dive in and try and choose a font. So the first one that I have chosen is a Vino Flare Black. Now actually looking at this, I do think this may be a little too thick for the vision. So I am getting rid of that one straight away. It is gone. Next is Copper Plate Light. I actually adore this one. I really love this serif. I'm keeping that. I like it. Next is Comb Regular. Now, I actually think this may be too kiddie. I do like the kind of rustic feel to it within some of the letters, but I don't know, it kind of looks just a bit too like country for me, and I'm not going for that vibe. So that one is gone. Next is Monogram Font Serif Bold, and I actually adore this type so much. Although I wanted it to be kind of stretched that way, it's stretched in the opposite direction, and I actually like that vision. I didn't have that in my head, so that could be potentially something we dive into. So we're going to keep that one. Next is Shackleton. Now, I actually think this may be too thick. I'm kind of steering more towards the really thin type instead of it being thick and wide. So for that, Shackleton is gone. Last is Modern Head Serif. Why has it got an E on it? Serif. I adore this type. This is hard. I actually like the squares within this. That's really, really nice. Like the rectangles, it's very pointy. This one, the middle one, is actually very pointy as well. So I actually like that those are kind of similar. So for that, I think I'm going to remove the top one and then whittle the next two down. So we either go for more stretched and more condensed, or we go for more stretched that way and more condensed that way. Oh God, okay, I actually feel like the top one is jumping out at me and saying that it is going to be a perfect fit. So I'm going to trust my gut, although I do really like that bottom font. I'm going to remember that font, Modern Head Serif. I'm going to use that in a future project because it is beautiful. So it is gone, and we're gonna go for Monogram Font Serif Bold. I actually really like this, so hopefully I've made the right decision. So we are diving deep into this now, and I think this is going to be quite hard because it is quite a long name. We've got David's Perfume by David Dobrik. So I'm just going to figure out the layout. I think I want to go for a stacked position for David's Perfume, and then underneath we are going to write by David Dobrik. David Dobrik. And I feel like that would look really nice small underneath David's Perfume, and the hierarchy of it sits really nicely. So that is done, and now what I'm going to do is outline David's Perfume so I can get in to manipulating the type and seeing what needs to be tweaked. So the first thing that's jumping out at me is the V. The V at the bottom is very curved, and I feel like that just takes away from the rest of the harsh lines throughout the typography. So I'm going to grab my pen tool and I'm going to create my own line to create a really nice sharp edge, which will then hopefully fit in with the rest of the brand. So that works really, really nicely, and I feel like even that small change has just lifted the brand a lot. So the next thing that's throwing me off is this apostrophe. It is very curved and it just feels like it's not fitting in with this brand, and we want the brand to be really consistent. We want the letters to be consistent, and right now we're not getting that. So once again, I'm going to get my pen tool. We're going to create our own apostrophe, and hopefully this will fit in better and feel a lot more consistent. So I've just made something that still resembles a slant within it, but it looks a bit like apostrophe, and I think that works really, really nicely. It fits in with the brand, so that is all good. So the next thing that I think I want to change is the I. So right now it kind of looks a bit too wide and too stretched, and it hasn't got any resemblance to any of the other letters. So I'm going to take my rubber tool, I'm going to get rid of the ends, I'm going to duplicate the V, and I'm now going to rub out certain parts of this. So I'm going to take the top of the V and actually make my own I. So I'm going to add that to the top and the bottom and see how that looks. So that is added, and it kind of feels, I don't know, I'm not vibing with it. I feel like something's missing. So I might duplicate the I and actually make, you know, like, is it like those Roman columns that basically hold up the buildings and they help strengthen it? They're full of power. I feel like that would work really nicely for a perfume brand. And as well as that, duplicating it to create two actually resembles a pause button. You know, like you've got two rectangles next to each other and it looks like a pause. That fits really nicely with the YouTube brand and referring back to that link with YouTube. So I don't know, we've kind of done like two things in one, and it's subtle. I want to leave like subtle hints and drops of YouTube within this branding, because obviously it is a YouTuber's merch and brand. And this works really, really nicely. It also creates a really nice diamond within the two eyes, which I think looks incredible as well. So we've done that, and I really like that. I think the only thing that's missing, I feel like by David Dobrik at the bottom could do with something. So I might add in an arrow like pointing to David to really put emphasis that this is David's brand, because if you don't know already, we've already got two Davids in there, but I think it will just kind of like add to the jokey side of it, like that it is David's brand. So I'm gonna add in a really nice arrow with the pen tool. I'm gonna add some curve on it by using the curvature tool, which I think works really beautifully. It adds a little bit of curve, a little bit of friendliness to the brand, and that works really, really well. So I think we have our primary logo now, and I'm vibing with it. I really like the two eyes together, which actually make that diamond in the middle. I feel like I did something there. I don't know, let me know. So the next stage that I want to dive into is creating the logo mark, which will represent the brand, but as a symbol or using the letters from the logo type. So I think I'm going to take the 2Ds and actually create either a symbol or something to do with the brand. So this is what they did in the original one. They did the 2Ds, but it kind of was just the 2Ds put next to each other, quite plain. So we're going to try and play off of this and see if I can create something that has a little more of a quirk to it. So I've had a play around with the logo mark, came up with different variations that actually inspired the next concept. So if you ever feel like the concepts that you're creating are rubbish and not very good, don't give up with them, because they actually can spark new ideas, which is exactly what happened with this. So I ended up reflecting the 2Ds, which created a really nice center, and I thought we could play off of this center and actually leave another little hint and droplet back to YouTube. So within this, I put a square, which actually created in the negative space two arrows, which link back to the logo for YouTube, which is the play button, which I think works really, really nicely. Also, the square I thought could represent like a pixel. Obviously, pixels are made up of loads of little squares that make up an image or a video. So I like that idea as well. Leaving little hints and little subtle things within your logo can actually have a really, really big meaning. So next is going to be my favorite part, which is coming up with the brand pattern. Now, I actually really like that idea of playing off of the pixel, which has actually sparked another idea for this pattern. So what I think I'm going to do is create like a pixel pattern that can be used within packaging and across this brand, but within the pixels we're gonna leave those subtle hints again. I feel like these aren't subtle hints anymore, they're just gonna be hints, and we're gonna create some like arrows within the pattern. We're gonna see how that turns out. I don't know if that is a little crazy or if it's even gonna work or if I can even do that, but we're gonna give it a go. So I've got my grid on and I've made sure that everything is fitting to the grid so that nothing is out of line. So I'm just literally getting a black square and I'm just gonna create a random pattern with the squares and hopefully be able to create those triangles that I was on about. Do you know what? That was actually really therapeutic to just keep doing squares one after one another. So if you need some therapy, create a pattern with some squares. It actually looks alright. So now I'm actually going to take this into the pattern and we're going to actually make up the pattern. So I'm going to change it from grid to, I'm going to try out brick by row, and I think we'll do brick by column so that the triangles that I did are kind of like going down one another. And that actually looks really nice. So what I'm going to do now is actually within this, I'm going to add in some extra squares to make sure that things link up and fit in with one another. And then we will have our pattern. She is looking, well, this masculine brand is looking spicy. That pattern looks so good. And you can subtly see those little triangles that I've added in. And I actually really like that. Now this excites me because we can actually use that like pixel pattern and things within the packaging, within socials, within the website, and it actually gives the brand something about it, because I feel like that was missing from the previous brand. So now what I'm actually going to do is add in the color. I always start off in black and white, as you've watched from my previous videos, just to make sure that everything is going to be legible, you can read it, everything works within that just predominant color of black. then you can add in your color and see exactly what works. So we're gonna try and go for that deeper, darker, dusky red and see if that works well with the black. The colors look insane right now. We went for more of like a duskier orange instead of that vibrant red. I think it fits in better with the color palette that we've chosen, but it's still that really nice dusky, it looks more masculine than what I would normally do, but it still has that like little bit of sass, and I actually really like it. And I think I've done well for something that I don't normally dive into this kind of branding, so I've actually really enjoyed this. So the next thing that I'm gonna do is create some mock-ups of the perfumes for females and for males, because I think they've got 2 different perfumes that you can choose from with different flavors. So we're gonna put this brand in action. I'm gonna head over to Envato to grab some of the perfume mock-ups, and we're gonna see exactly what the brand looks like. You are not ready for the brand reveal and for the incredible mock-ups that have really done a great job of bringing this brand to life and to see what it would look like on the physical products. I'm so excited to introduce you to this brand, and I'm just so excited that I've managed to kind of take this off my list, because I've kind of been avoiding designing like a masculine brand because I was just afraid that I wasn't going to be able to pull it off, but I've managed to put my own spin on it. We've still got some beautiful colors in there, which are my absolute favorite thing. So it can be done. I can put my little touch on more of a masculine brand. So I am doing the honor of introducing you to this incredible perfume brand, David's Perfume by David Dobrik. So David, let's take a look at what I've designed. If you made it to the end of this video, then thank you so much. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, leave a comment and let me know if you enjoyed this process and if you actually enjoyed the final result and the branding. Hit that subscribe button as well, because you know you want to see some more content just like this. I will see you at the next video.